So thank you for coming, everybody, this beautiful Saturday morning. I love Colorado weather. And a special thanks to my little demo girl here, Kaylee and Julie. Thank you very much for coming. I'm Rhonda Matsuno, owner of ARF Massage. I specialized as a certified veterinary technician, but I specialized in animal massage and basic rehabilitation, and I use a cold laser. Massage, everyone's had a massage, I would hope anyway, whether it's for medical reasons or just to relax. So massage stimulates the body's nerves, muscles, the circulatory system, the lymph system, and it increases motion, increases supply of oxygen and nutrients to the cells in the body, and it relieves muscle spasms. And it also helps relieve and release lactic acid. That is what causes the pain and the muscle binding. Besides massage and basic rehab, I use what I have as a laser. It's a class 2 and it's a MR4. It has different settings here. And this is what actually helps to create nitric oxide in the body, which is a natural component to heal the body. There's many things that it's been termed as. LEDs, which I also have over here. These are light-emitting diodes, and this is an 880 nanometer, and you can see the red. And those are a lower level, and then you have the green, and then what we cannot see that is infrared are the clear ones. And this is actually meant for human use, but it's got all 3 nanometer settings in here. I also use it for our animals. This can be left on for 20 minutes at a time. It's going to vasodilate so that it's going to help to move things through, to circulate. So all of these terms, it's all now called photobiomodulation. And what this one also does is I can change the apparatuses on here. Right now this is a broad spectrum, and it's easy just to apply on the body. Well, if I wanted to do laser puncture, I would use this. And there's also different adapters on there that are much pointier. I'm not an acupuncturist by any means, but you just get to know certain trigger points where you can actually feel them in the body, and they'll radiate heat, and it's much easier doing that sometimes than a needle. So that's called laser puncture. In the world of oncology, a lot of times massage is helpful, especially when you look at Cassius and he has 3 legs. Or this little fella's James. He walks in a cart because he had trauma to his spine, and it left him a paraplegic. But he's happy. See that little smile? He's so happy. So it is beneficial. So I'm just going to go really quickly through a few of the diagrams that I have. Ice and heat are really important, especially post-operatively, because it's right after a surgery. As long as they're on a really good pain management, then it's easy for them, especially after surgery, to have the ice applied. Cryotherapy is what they call it. And it helps to vasodilate or constrict all the vessels. I like to use frozen vegetables or crushed ice. And then as for to warm up the body, then before massage, after the surgery, like a few days down the road, I like to use moist heat. Just having a pan of warm water on the side, or a bag of rice that's warmed up in the microwave, and there again to the touch. And to their comfort level. All of this is always to their comfort level. You want to make it comfortable and pleasing and no stress. This is a good time. This is a bonding time, actually, for people. One time in a person's busy schedule is plenty. 3 times in a perfect world, whatever you can manage. I believe, and it's actually where all of the your nerve endings go to, in stimulating the ears, the paws, the base of the tail, right here on the end, is called the cauda equina, and that's how the tail moves and wags, is right here, stimulating that area, and also the tail, all the way down to the end. Muscle tapping. It helps just to desensitize the extremity or any area where they've been injured, just a light stroke, so that they know you're there, that you're not there to hurt, and it's just a very light stroke. Along with when they have a shaved leg after a TPLO, they're not used to not having any hair. And just to help stimulate that area, it's strange to them. And so just to help them become desensitized makes a difference. Again, whatever they will tolerate, 5 to 15 minutes at a time, 1 to 3 times a day. Sometimes people will just sit on the couch with their little one or on the floor with a larger animal and just tap and stroke very lightly with the fingertips. Passive range of motion. You want to support the joint above and below. And once she becomes comfortable, can I have some treats, please? Hopefully she will let me. I have met Kaylee and Julie one other time, but she was really cooperative, I thought, on a first meeting, since she doesn't really like her feet touched. Yes, there's a whole bag there. I'm sorry. Yeah, right? So I'm hoping she'll show us how relaxed they can be. But passive range of motion, you want to support the joint above and below, especially on a post-op orthopedic. And make sure you give them their pain medication ahead of time before you do any of that stuff. And then the range is from their paw, their toes, that's included. Their paw, their ankle, their elbow, and their shoulder. And like in humans, this is their wrist, and this is their ankle, or their hock, and their hip, and their stifle is their knee. So again, you want to do it slowly. If there's been an injury, you want to start with the moist heat and then muscle tapping and just desensitizing the area, and then passive range of motion very slowly and only to their comfort level. So this is little Miss Ruby June. She went chasing after a rabbit and she survived being hit in the back end by a van. So she had bilateral injuries, her left side being up. The injured part was her carpus, or excuse me, her tarsus, which is the back ankle. And then the other leg, the down leg, it was her femur. So she's got pins and mostly pins and wires, cerclage wires on the right, and then on the left, there's actually screws here. But so she is about 10 months young now, and 11 actually. I just saw her yesterday. She's 11 months young. And I'm doing passive range of motion, trying to show you a little bit. And when you know she's comfortable, she just starts to stretch. And she closes her eyes, and she is so still. So whenever I have this method when I come in and greet them, hi, I take off their collar, and I say hello. I greet where Julie's actually sitting. I work with their face, their ears, and while we're talking, then hopefully she doesn't know what I'm doing, and I just start to begin. In the beginning, yeah, I think that's all I do is talk, and then I start in. Anyway, that's okay. When you do massage, I think you set the intention. And the intention is you're very relaxed. You want to do no harm. You want to make this a pleasant session. Food is always excellent if they're food motivated, and to praise and to love and to just kind of relax. And know that, you know, you're just, I work with energy, so I'm a little nervous, but to let them know that this is a good session. Hi, yeah, hello, hello, yes, thank you. And you just enjoy it, right? And you go in, when I go into a hospital or I'm at a hospital setting, it's just me and the animal, whatever species it may be. Cat, dog. Cats are a little more difficult, but you just talk to them. And you don't really need to talk. It's more, I do believe that they pick up on your energy. Right? Good girl. Right? So there are different ways that people teach massage, effleurage and petrissage, circular motions. And the touch is very light. It's maybe a dime's weight, and they'll let you know. It's very light. And you do want to go in the length of the muscle. What you don't want to do, which is really important, is all these bony protrusions that you feel that are really hard, that's bone. So you don't want to press on bone, but everything around there is soft. So these are just a couple of strokes that you learn. Is effleurage, which is a circular motion. Petrissage is more putting the pressure on in specific areas when you feel those trigger points. And then also rolling the skin. Yeah, she's not quite used to me, so, but it takes time. But eventually, you know, they do just lay there like you saw with Ruby. And she just lays there, and her whole session, it makes it easy for me to do in a matter of 45 minutes to also do massage, range of motion, and the laser. And the most of what I enjoy, besides healing them, is for people that I teach at home, it builds a really nice bond with you. Can I see a treat? I think I need to hold it here. Sure. Good girl. In some instances, like the kitty cat in the bed, he was feral, and it brought the owner and the kitty cat a lot closer together. I had to be careful, but teaching at home, it makes a really big difference that you can do it at home where they're more comfortable with you and with me most of the time. That's okay. That's okay. Good girl. But I don't make them do certain things. They eventually learn that when I get to one area, they're okay. And then, yes, she's scooting away, but come here. Come here. Ideally, laying down, but in the beginning, it's okay. I work with them when they're sitting up, when they're moving around. Sometimes it takes me an hour and a half, but eventually, after they get to know me, it's more like 45 minutes, right? You're okay. I know, but I really appreciate you're here, though. So all your nerve endings come together. You know, they start at the spine, and then in animals, they're very sensitive with their ears. Some animals that have had where their equilibrium is off, I will actually have the owners get a glove or a little gauze and really massage the inside of their ears. nerve endings, I believe they can regrow with time. Maybe not quickly, but in time they can grow. So when they have that spinning, when their equilibrium is off, it can help with time and the stimulation with their ears. There's a special spot right here that one of a fella I know, acupuncturist, and the DVMs that are acupuncturists will use as a calming point. Going down the spine, you can always tell what areas are fragile or which areas are binding. And chiropractors are also important in massage and alternatives to pain management. It's amazing when you can relieve one spot that chiropractors do, and they're like us. Oh gosh, that felt good when you pop. She does not like her paws touched, especially her front. But if you can get in here, hi, yes, and really get into the web of their toes in between. And kitty cats, once they really enjoy it, they'll go, ah, like that. And they really enjoy it. And then it helps us in the veterinary world to be able to massage and to trim their toenails a lot easier, as well as for, you know, for you at home. But really work with their toes and get them used to it. It's not that they don't like it, it's they're not used to it. And so it's all a matter of getting them used to your touch. Good girl. Yeah. So you can feel where the bones are, and you can feel where the muscle is. And if they're really uncomfortable, they will actually radiate heat from their body. And then you can find the trigger point wherever it may be. We'll just pretend it's down the paralumbar. And I like to use both hands on at one time, because energy does go through your hands in their body. And you find that spot and you just hold it. You just hold it. And then you could put a little pressure on there and you'll feel it release and dissipate. And then you can finish massaging along the whole way. And you go with what they want to do. If she wants to sit still, she will. And she will when you do it enough. And you just work with them. Up and down, up and down, up and down. And it gives you patience. It teaches you patience. And time goes by so fast to where I can work on an animal for an hour and a half just being patient with them, and they know that. And it doesn't seem like it. It just, yeah, I love it. So, yeah. And there's Ruby June with her little human child, Lucas. And yeah, it's pretty special. You have that bond. Let's see. But I'm very thankful that you're here with me today. Yes, I am, and thank you, Julie.
You're welcome.
And thank you, Britt, for all that you do to help all of our patients and our animals in the animal kingdom. So, like with Kaylee here, one of the spots that they build a lot of tension in is in their shoulder, just like with us. So I start there, and with her, she's being wiggly. I am nicely asking her to bear with me, that it's okay. And so that's where your touch comes in. And she's telling me, no, forget it, lady. I don't want to. And with food and with just consistent, come here, that's what I'm doing. And when they are food motivated, that's a good thing to help and say, it's okay. here's something to eat, like with all of us. When I go to work, I love it when they bring me breakfast, right? I work better that way. But it's just as if you're holding a baby, or you have your hands on an elderly person, and that touch is really important. And with that, you know, it's all kind and easy and gentle. And then eventually, come the second treatments, it's usually a lot easier. And come the third and the fourth, or, you know, weeks down the road, they learn. And when I go see Ruby, she knows where her bed is. And she gets in her bed, and that bed goes on the table. And when she's on the table, she lays down. And I don't know why, I think it was just something different that I felt like she needed to have done on the floor, you know? But you just kind of read and see what they want, how they're going to respond. Oh, was that good? Come here. I know. Good girl. I know. Yeah. And yeah, that's okay. We worry about those things later. Not a big deal, right? Material things aren't that big a deal, right? No. Oh, thank you. But I try in areas that are not painful. Definitely at first, that's where I'm going to work, is I'm not going to work on the affected leg, I'm going to work on the other leg. When you do have a surgical leg, let's say it's her left leg, it's the front end that's going to take the brunt of the weight at that point. So I'll start there, and then I'll work with the other leg on the other side, and then I come to the affected leg, right? Can I have your paw? For someone that doesn't like their paws touched, I just end up holding them. And I don't have to trim them, right, or do anything, but I just hold them. So it's a gradual process. In the hospital, though, they know that there's something different, and usually they know that you're trying to help them, and they just will lay there. And if not, I say, okay, here's a break. You give them a break. You back off, and you say, okay, bunch of food, come back next time, more food, and more touch, and eventually they become used to it. Yeah. Thank you. Yay! Yay!